Spring break is coming up. What are students doing to break from classes?
And the federal government is undergoing mandatory budget cuts, but not everyone is getting pinched. We'll look at one town in Georgia that kept their budget under control.
Those stories and more at Today at ChattState.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Robertson.
And I'm Keegan Webb. So Chelsea, you ready for spring break?
I'm so ready. I cannot wait to be in Panama. What about you?
Oh, nice. Panama. Can't afford it. Budget cuts. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, well, mandatory budget cuts are beginning to take effect across the country, and agencies are looking for ways to delay furloughs. But one U.S. city is experiencing just the opposite. Officials in Sandy Springs, Georgia say they are able to balance their budget thanks to the city's unusual model of governance. Almost all public services are outsourced to private companies. Brianna Keller reports the city has over 90,000 residents, but less than 10 full-time public employees, excluding fire and police.
Oliver Porter is a retired corporate executive. He worked in the business sector for decades, but perhaps his biggest job came a few years ago when he was asked to help start a fully functional new city.
I began to look for alternatives to the traditional form of government, and possibly because of my corporate background, I found the idea of using private industry attractive, and that's the way we began.
In a 2005 referendum, the residents of Sandy Springs, a city just north of, to separate their community from the larger Fulton County. Months later, on December 1st, the city became officially incorporated, but had no funds or staff.
A city of over 90,000 people with 2 employees. It was unheard of.
Porter developed a so-called public-private model. Contracts for public services are signed with the companies that offer the best quality for the best price. Except fire and police and fewer than 10 top officials, including the mayor, everything in Sandy Springs is operated by contractors. Road maintenance, trash collection, administrative services, the operation of the municipal court, and the 911 call center are all outsourced to private companies.
Everything is done on a purely competitive basis, and it reduces the costs of government.
As a result, Mayor Eva Galambos says Sandy Springs has been able to save about 20% of its yearly budget for capital improvements.
We're able to improve the infrastructure of the city, and we're doing all of that with exactly the same tax rate that we used to pay before we were a city.
The Sandy Springs model is gaining national and international attention. Several cities in the U.S. have already implemented variations of it. Representatives from countries like Japan, China, and Switzerland have also expressed interest in the model.
I think what Sandy Springs has demonstrated, which can gain a little velocity around the country and around the world, is that there are more roles for the private sector if they're carefully defined. And we need to do that because there simply isn't enough money in the current system to operate the way we do it.
Criticism of what Sandy Springs is doing primarily relates to its decision to incorporate, pulling a rather wealthy Atlanta community out of the county tax base. But residents were tired of the services the county provided, and 94% voted to make decisions themselves.
As elected officials, they have a responsibility to look for alternatives, not just to do things the same way.
Brianna Keeler, CNN, Atlanta.
Do you know anyone affected by the cuts?
I don't actually. What about you?
Yes, this guy, militarily, but that's another story.
Oh, well, that is unfortunate. Chattanooga State Student Life brought its Save a Life seminars out on Tuesday, February 26th in the cafeteria. Do you text and drive or drink and drive? You may think twice after completing a seminar. 4 out of every 5 accidents are attributed to distracted drivers. In contrast, drunk drivers account for 1 out of 3 of all accidents. Texting while driving is about 6 times more likely to result in an accident than driving while intoxicated. Hopefully you were able to participate in this event and will think twice before you text and drive or drink and drive. Your life is important because it may be the one you save.
March is advising month. Students are advised to please see your assigned advisor. If you do not know who your advisor answer is, check your academic profile box on your TigerWeb. To get their contact information or call the advising office at 423-697-4483. Don't delay about setting up classes for summer or fall.
Are you experienced? There are programs taking place on campus to help students get the experience they need in college to be successful in business. Helping future businesses everywhere get their foot in the door. Experience Talks teaches future business owners the correct steps to take, as well as the steps to avoid while trying to conduct a professional, productive business.
The nuclear industry is a growing career field that Chattanooga State is addressing in the Nuclear Power Engineering Technology program. A speaker came to Chattanooga State on Wednesday, February 27th to inform students about the career paths involving nuclear power and radiation protection. The speaker provided students with details on job opportunities and the steps it takes to be successful in the nuclear field.
Film Chattanooga. A group whose goal is to support local filmmakers will take place on Thursday, March 14th at 6:30 p.m. at the downtown YMCA. A professional seminar entitled Gripology 101 will be taught by lightning professionals Michael Esperm and Glenn Stiegel, who will be discussing the work of film grips and the equipment they use. For more information, visit film.chattanooga.org.
Students on campus interested in filmmaking may also want to know more about the professional film and television training classes here at Chattanooga State. In the past, students have worked on short films and produced a feature-length film in the summer and fall of 2012. For more information about these classes, contact Chris Willis at 423-697-3151 or by email at chris.willis@chattanoogastate.edu.
Let's take a look at this week's weather. Here's Aaron Davis.
It's cold and cloudy early this week with a low of 43 degrees on Wednesday, then slightly warmer and sunny through the weekend. Spring break will be likely chilly, but not much precipitation headed our way. Back to you.
Thanks, Aaron. Well, that's it for today at Chat State. Be sure to check us out each week and on Comcast Cable 3.
Have a great day.